Today I'm going to be talking about a bit of a controversial subject, a subject that a lot of the over 60s population aren't necessarily comfortable with. But I'm going to go over 5 things that I think are really important going into our later years. The subject I'm talking about is technology. So before you go switching to another channel and just racing for the hills, please stick with me because I'm going to just break down 5 things that I think are really important in relation to technology as we get older. And you're probably already using some of these, but I'm just going to break it down the 5 things that I think will make your life so much easier. Stick with me. I think you'll find it interesting. And I'm about to go through those 5 things. So, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. If this is your first time, my name's Leanne. So, let's get started. So, the first thing I want to talk about, which a lot of people are already using, but there's a great deal of people who don't, and I think it's because they don't trust it, especially with all the cyber attacks and things going on and the downloading of data. But I think it makes your life so much easier, and that's online banking. So I use online banking daily. I check my balances every day. I move money around. I very rarely go into a bank. The only time I might go into a bank is if I need to have a meeting or some sort of transactional thing that I need to do where I have to do it inside a bank. Other than that, I do everything online and I just find it so easy. I've got my balances, I can be sitting in bed having a coffee first thing in the morning and checking my bank balances, moving money around, paying bills, all that kind of stuff. And it makes life so much easier. I also know sometimes I need to sort of shuffle money around when I'm out and about, and I realize if I'm shopping, I don't quite have enough money in one account that I want to use. So there and then, within a minute, I can move money over into the account that I want to use. So really, really easy. You don't have to physically go into a bank. It's just so simple, and I know that where I'm working, I work in the sort of social sector, so I'm in contact with a lot of community, and I still get the older community coming in and paying by check. They get really confused about bills and how to pay them. They don't know how to do online banking. They're not comfortable with it. And I just find it's such a hassle for them, and especially if they're not mobile. If they, can't get around like they used to, maybe they don't drive a car anymore. And it is such a hassle for the older generation to be able to pay a bill. I get a lot of phone calls where they'll pay over the phone. And I know that you can do that, but it's such a hassle. And they do get confused. And I just think to make life easier as we get older, I think that if you can get your head around online banking, it makes life so much easier. Also, people are a bit nervous about cyber attacks and identity theft and all that kind of stuff. They're pretty solid. The banks. I've never had an issue with cyber theft and all that kind of stuff with the banks that I'm with. I know that it's really quite hard. I think their security is pretty tight. I use a lot of facial recognition when I go into my accounts. I've set that up, or what they call two-factor recognition, and I just find it so much easier. So I think that one of the main, it's the number one thing because we're all involved in our finances. And if you can do online banking, it really, really makes your life easy. And as I said, you've got your balances at hand. You can really manage your money well, which I think is really important as we get older. And I'm always budgeting in and out of my accounts. And if I had to go into a bank or go to a ATM, every time I needed to know my balances and put my card in and do it, like I've got several bank accounts. And if I had to go and do that every single time, and you have to pay the fee for the ATM, so that would be such a hassle because I just like to know constantly what's going on and it helps me manage my money. So online banking is just So, and another thing, I set up regular payments. So if I've got an ongoing, say for my rent, I've set it up so that on a particular day each month, my rent comes out of that account. I don't have to even worry about that. I don't have to physically remember, oh, I've got to pay my rent on this day. It just automatically comes out. And I've set up a few of my accounts like that where I have regular payments coming out. So I don't have to worry. And I can go in and change that anytime. The other thing is because I invest money regularly, little amounts of money each time I get paid, I've set that up automatically as well. So every week when I get paid, that money goes out of my account. I don't even know it's going. I don't even think about it. It's not on my radar. It just happens in the background. And while that's going on, I'm investing constantly for my future and little bits of money going out, bills being paid, and it's just peace of mind. So really important. I think online banking is really crucial as we get older to get our heads around that. The second one is number 2 is another one that I use a lot of, and that's and I do it all the time because I'm so time poor, is online shopping. And I've got friends who just aren't confident with online shopping because they're worried about putting their card details into that website. And also, I think with buying clothes, sizes and all that kind of stuff, and what if you get the wrong thing, and what if you don't like it? And so it's this real what if type, oh, I'm not comfortable with that. But the thing with online shopping is, and once again, as we get older, you don't know what your health's going to be like. Hopefully it'll be great, but you don't know what your health's going to be like, or if you have an accident. And to be able to go online and go onto Woolworths or Coles or, those supermarkets and be able to order, put an order in for food, to groceries, and have them delivered. That is just, especially for us people living on our own who are solo, if you're laid up in bed and you're sick and you can't get out, to be able to just get on your laptop or whatever, your phone, and be able to put an order in for food. Even Uber, I think, does deliveries of all sorts of things these days. So if you needed to go to the chemist or you need things picked up, it's just so easy to be able to just get online and do that. I find that I don't, I'm working full time. So if I need to purchase something, I don't want to be wandering around the shops all day trying to find that elusive thing that I'm looking for. I think that's a hassle. Unless I'm just wanting a day to just wander around, that's different. But if I'm after a particular thing, you can spend a whole day wandering around the shops and not find the item that you are after. So I would much rather get online and find that item online. I think that you can also buy things that you can't necessarily find in your neighborhood. So, and even overseas. So, online shopping overseas. So I think it's really handy if you're looking for particular items that aren't in your vicinity. Quite often there's sales online that aren't, you can't get them in store. So it's just like an online special or something like that. And I think it's fine. The thing that I wouldn't do is some of the sites say, would you want us to remember this card? Keep it. I never, ever, ever click yes for that. I would rather enter my card in each time I shop. So I know it's convenient for them to have that on their files, but you just never know. So that's one thing that I would not do, online shopping. And also I wouldn't go to any sort of obscure websites either. I would be really careful. I'm always really careful about where I shop. So it's always big chains, supermarkets, that kind of stuff, top name brands. I don't go to sort of, you can check the web address, and if it's a bit weird, I definitely wouldn't be clicking in there. And I have been ripped off before with a site that I thought sold genuine Ray-Bans, and it was some Asian website, and it was really, I don't know what it was. But anyway, they sent the Ray-Bans, but they weren't real Ray-Bans. I didn't pay much for them, so that's okay. But you do have to be wary and look at where the web address is as well, and make sure it's locked. Like there's a little lock up the top where the web address is. But I'm going to go into all of that in more detail in later episodes. I'll be diving a bit deeper into all that kind of stuff. So that's number 2. Number 3, and this is my favorite. I just love it, and that's AI. So when I say AI, I particularly mean Chat GPT, which I use on the daily, basically. And I use it for all kinds of things. And if you've never used it, please download it and just have a play. It is amazing. People say, oh, but you can ask Google stuff and it will give you answers. Yeah, it does, but it's also not as powerful. And also with ChatGPT, each time you interact with it and ask questions or talk about stuff, it actually has a memory. So it keeps everything and it builds on it. So in the end, it knows your profile. For example, I'll give you an example. I ask ChatGPT all sorts of stuff. I talk about taxes if I've got tax questions, investment. I wanted to know about Bitcoin. I wanted to know with the investments I've got now at a certain rate, what would they be worth by the time I'm 75? And it does all this calculations and stuff like that. So all the financial data that I had been interacting with ChatGPT, I put in a question and said, based on what you know about me, tell me what my financial personality is like, and be brutal about it. And that's what I typed in there. And so it came out with a whole lot of this personality profile of me, and it was so spot on. It said that basically all your life you have prioritized life experiences over future and making money and trying to set up for your future. You have lived in the now and have enjoyed life and have been adventurous and wanted experiences. And it went on, and now you are concerned because as you're getting older, you're wanting to be more financially savvy, and now you're working to it went into great detail. And it was just so interesting. And this is what ChatGPT put together based on all of my interactions that I've had with it. The other thing, and it's just quite incredible because I was doing my tax recently and there was a question in there about shares and how I claim. I didn't understand the question and I wanted to know how I claimed for that. And it worked out the whole thing for me and explained what that question meant, what the tax office was looking for. And then it said, would you like me to calculate this? So I put in all my share purchases and it calculated what I could claim. So, and the other thing was when I was sort of thinking about doing the big lap around Australia, I wanted to know, do I go anti-clockwise or clockwise, and why I would do either of those, the reasons. And it came out with all the, it's to do with the wind, and apparently going up the, clockwise, you get more headwind. And it just did this. It's just so powerful. It can help you with day-to-day issues. So if you want to know how to fix something, it will go into the whole, it'll tell you exactly how to do it. It's just so powerful. And I think that, as we get older, it can be a really useful tool. It can do recipes for you. If you're on a diet, you want a diet plan that's quite specific to you, it will put one, it will give you a diet plan. It will then ask you if you want that to be downloaded. Do you want that converted into a PDF so that it can be downloaded for you to keep, on your kitchen bench or whatever? It's just incredible. So I just think that as we get older, that is a really powerful tool when we need to find out stuff and just, help us with day-to-day things, or we want answers for things. It's just incredible. I really highly recommend it. I use it on the daily, I maybe several times a day. I'm always in and out. It helps me with all sorts of things. It helps me with my YouTube channel when I want to something written a certain way. I redid my son's resume the other day, and I put it into ChatGPT and I said, can you make this sound more professional? And then it sort of spat it back at me, and it was totally polished. It was amazing. So, and it happens all in seconds. It's not, it doesn't take long. It's all sort of within a few seconds. It's done. So yeah, if you've never used ChatGPT, download the app and have a play with it. I will, once again with this one, be doing a deeper dive into ChatGPT, and I'll be showing you exactly sort of how it works and just some examples and things like that. So I will dive a bit deeper into that, but really highly recommend it if you haven't used it. And I think very, very helpful. The other one, number 4, is social media. And so majority of us use social media, which is fantastic. It's a bit of a pain because nowadays you've got sort of a lot of AI false things coming in. There's a lot of advertising, and there's just a lot of false news as well. So I think you need to sort of, and it's so painful sifting through all of that. But I like social media because it keeps me in contact with friends and family. And I've got friends living all over the place. And even though I'm not really in full contact with them anymore, it's really nice to see what they're doing, and just stay. That's my way of staying in contact. And if I want to, I can catch up with them. But it's just a nice way of staying in contact. My son is living interstate, my only child. So it's nice to be able to see what he's up to. He posts photos on Instagram, and we chat through that as well. So I think that's a really important thing to sort of continue using. I also think we should get comfortable if any of you have friends and family living far away from you. I really like FaceTime, Zoom. Zoom's not just for businesses and meetings. Zoom can be used also for just catching up with friends and family that aren't close by, and it's so nice because you feel like you're with them. And I do that with my son when at times we FaceTime or do Zoom, catch up through Zoom. And he's just moved into a new apartment, and he rang the other night, and I said, "What's your new apartment like?" And he said, "Oh, you haven't, I have to show you." So he said, "I'll FaceTime you and I'll take you for a walkthrough." And so he turned the camera around and he was talking to me about where he was going, and the flat, and he was showing me through his bedroom, the lounge area, the kitchen, the bathroom, the balcony, and I felt like I was there as he was walking through his place. And it was really nice because it was nice to see it because I'm not living there. I can't just go around and visit. So it was really nice to see his new place and have a bit of a walk through. So I find that that's a really good thing to keep up on and just feel that you're connected, and you're not invisible, and you're just still reaching out to people and being involved. So don't ever give that up, even though all the crap that's on social media at the moment is you've got to sift through it. But so that's my number 4. Number 5, which we all have, most of us, is your smartphone. And it is so powerful. It can do all sorts of things. A lot of people just use it as a phone. They don't even know like a quarter of what their phone can do. And I use mine. It's like my second computer. I do all sorts of stuff through it. It's a big iPhone. And I use it for, it counts my steps daily because I've got an app on there that does all of my steps. So I know how many steps I'm doing, which I find interesting. The other thing is I've got an app called Life 360, and my son and I have that. And what that does is I know where he is all the time. So even though he's interstate, it does like a Google satellite map, and I can see him walking, or I know when he's in a car because it comes up and says he's driving. And then I can see when he's gotten out, usually it's an Uber he's caught, and he gets out and starts walking. It tells me when his phone, how much battery time he's got on his phone. And then I can see when he's plugged it in and it's charging. So it's just really incredible. And it gives me peace of mind. I don't go stalking him, but we just know where each other, is at the time. So he does it, he follows me, and I don't always go in there, but I think it's really nice to have that. And I think that's a really powerful tool, especially, when you want to keep an eye on loved ones or you've got kids or something like that. Well, they'd be grown kids, but at our age, but still, it's just really nice to have. The other thing I use it for appointments and reminders. So I use my calendar religiously. I've got all my appointments in there. I set reminders so that I know, that I've got appointments coming up. It just keeps me on track with my life so that I don't forget anything. Even when I have to pay bills, I set myself reminders so that if they're not automatic bills, but I know I've got a power bill coming up, for example, I put it in my phone, or my credit card bill, I'll put it in my phone so that I don't miss paying that and I don't get hit with penalties. So that also I find really useful. And the other thing is I set my downtime. So I've got a sleep app that I set it for 8 o'clock. So that's usually when my phone goes off. people can't, well, it doesn't go off, it's on, but it goes into do not disturb mode. And that means people can't phone me or get through to me. Messages won't come through. And it goes from 8 o'clock until 5 o'clock the next morning, because that's when I wake up and get ready for work. So what that does, it just makes sure, it tells me that it's get ready for bedtime. So it stops me from getting caught up. And then I look at my clock and it's 10 o'clock at night and that kind of thing, because I'm quite precious about sleep. I think it's vitally important. So I always use that do not disturb. Other than that, my phone is silent. It really, it stops all the beeps and things going on throughout the night if messages are coming through, or notices, notifications and things like that. Everything goes quiet. And so I find that quite good for me, because my sleep, I love my sleep. So I do not want to be disturbed. So that was number 5. So all of these things, they're pretty basic. Most people are using them anyway, but there's a lot of people that aren't. And at what level are you using these pieces of technology? Because you can do so much with them. I'm going to do a deeper dive into a couple of things over the coming weeks. So one of them will be definitely ChatGPT, because I think that's so interesting and so powerful. The other thing I want to talk about, and I'll do an episode on that, a video on that as well, is the phishing, how to tell if it's a phishing email and things like that. So I don't know over in the US whether you're getting these through your emails, but here there's so many emails coming through saying your phone's going to be shut down if you do not change your details now or pay a bill. And they're all these scammy emails, and they're getting better and better at it, but there's still little things that you can pick up to know that they're a scam. But they come through even with what is it, electricity, phone, MyGov, which is your social security sort of website. There's mail, you need to click here on this link to access the new mail that's arrived. All this stuff, they just try everything and anything. It's so easy to tell though. There's certain ways you can tell straight away that this is false. And it's caught a lot of people out. And I especially think older people, as they're sort of not keeping up with technology and, getting older, and these emails come through, so easy for them to just click on that link and then it just opens up everything, and you're really vulnerable to being hacked. So I'm going to do an episode on that, on phishing, and that's spelled phishing, not fishing, casting a rod. It's very different. So I will do an episode on that as well. And just also how to look at websites and understand whether a website is safe or not, or a legitimate website. And I might do a little bit more of an iPhone one as well, where I can show you sort of how to use your iPhone at a higher level, and not just to phone people. So stay tuned for those. They will be coming up over the coming weeks, where I just dive deeper. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on technology. How are you with technology as you're getting older? Is it something that you fear? Are you already embracing it? I love it. I think because I work in a technology world and I'm having in and out of programs and doing stuff all the time, so I'm really comfortable with technology. But yeah, let me know how you feel. Let me know what your strengths are in technology, or if you've got any weaknesses and would like to actually know more about a certain thing, because that would help me know what to put out as well to help you. So yeah, leave your comments below. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.